Today on Hurtbox's Arcade Corner, we're going to be taking a look at how I managed to get a golden lever to fit into that Victrix Pro FS. But not before we talk about the merchandise. If you head on over to the link down below, you can pick up one of our many tons of t-shirts, hoodies, and whatever merchandise is up there at the time. We have a new revision of the Do an Electric t-shirt that I've called the Rev 2 edition, and it features the input. The 2 on the inputs is actually blue or teal, whatever that color is that you normally get with the PlayStation controls. But yeah, head on down to the link in the description and pick up a shirt or whatever, and if we're streaming, we'll be able to thank you directly. So in my last video, I mentioned how the golden lever doesn't really fit in some cases. The Nikon Daija, the Victrix Pro FS, as well as the Razer Panthera Evo. This, however, well, made me want to try and fit it in these levers, make me fit these levers into those sticks. And the first one, of course, is going to be the Victrix Pro FS. I've apparently become the person who will just fit any stupid thing into this stick. So this was the perfect choice of arcade stick to fit the golden lever in, especially since this is my daily driver like I mentioned before. So the process of doing this is pretty straightforward, though I did do a lot of back and forth on what I wanted to do in order to get the golden lever to fit in here. The base plate, or the mounting plate, is held on by 4 screws. And when I measured them compared to the crown, the various crowns, as well as the Fujin lever and some of the other Korean levers I have, the holes line up. So this is actually good. I don't have to go and try and drill any new holes into base plates or do anything stupid. So essentially what is going to happen, and this was, again, some testing, is that we're going to have to take apart the golden lever first. Unscrew the 4 screws that are on the mounting plate, and you're going to be able to remove the base plate. However, this also takes the entire housing apart. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be reusing the screws, so keep those safe. We're going to keep the mounting plate also somewhere safe, because if you ever want to switch back, then it would help to know where that thing is at. Now, the first thing that I thought about doing was using the base plate off of the 307FJ. That is a lever that I highly despise, and I hate that I bought that thing, because this was before Crown changed their Japanese mountable Korean sticks from just being that small hole with like the silicon grommet and whatever, to being an actual short collar that is the gate. That's what the collar is on the Korean sticks. So I thought that would be a perfect way to just sacrifice an arcade stick or a lever that I don't use anymore and throw it onto the golden lever. However, I forgot that because these were before the actual short collar versions, the hole is way too damn small to fit on top of it. And I was going to use one of my step down bits to drill a hole big enough to actually just mount it that way. Easy, right? I didn't want to have to do that. I didn't want to get a bunch of metal shavings and a bunch of other crap all over the floor. So after taking that apart, I kind of threw that off to the side, no point in putting that back together. And I decided to use one of my quick release crown levers that I have, specifically the 309. I'll be putting it back on when I do a review of those in the future, but for now, I'm going to be taking that one apart and using the mounting plate, because the hole is actually big enough for the collar on the golden lever. It also mounts the same exact way, the holes line up, and it's countersunk, so, you know, there's no little spacing issues. I mean, that's one of the things that the golden lever's mounting plate has, is that they aren't really countersunk, but whatever. So I went through the process of installing it sideways, just like the mounting plate that came on the golden lever went, and everything went pretty much according to plan. The next thing you're going to have to do is to remove the lever from the Victrix, or whatever stick that you're using. So now that we've removed the stick, we're going to mount it the same way that we mounted the other Korean levers. It's going to go sideways. It doesn't work if you flip it upright. It won't. And while it does technically fit, there are a couple of other space constraints. For one, the housing of the golden lever is a lot bigger. So that means that, well, there's going to be some conflicting spacing issues here. The corners of the Delrin collar and body kind of touch up against the screws that keep the mounting plate or the mounting side of the Victrix to the actual housing. And I don't know what those screws are there for, but the corners do actually touch those and it conflicts. But it's not so much so that you can't screw it in. The only downside that I see to this method is that you're going to be seeing kind of the shaft is probably going to be a little bit shorter. It won't stick out as far as it would if you mounted in like the Hori Fighting Edge or whatever. But that's kind of a non-issue once you put the bat top on. I didn't really notice any height issue. It's not like with the Seimitsu, where when I put the Seimitsu on, there was a noticeable height difference. And then the other thing is that because the way that I mounted it, the 5-pin JLF harness was on the top. That doesn't reach the actual 5-pin connector that's on the board. So I had to use the old method from the Seimitsu mounting video, where I took one of those long harnesses that isn't soldered onto anything and just has the exposed wires, and I had to put them into the 5-pin harness that's on the board and then plug it into the stick. If you want to see how that's done, you can check out the other video I did where I put a Seimitsu in. That goes through the whole method that I had to use for this. But that's really the only couple things that you have to do when it comes to this stick. Actually, the third thing that you might find a little bit annoying is that these screws, when being screwed back in, are going to be very tight. This thing kind of doesn't sit perfectly even, which doesn't matter to us a whole lot, but it does make tightening the screws seem like it really shouldn't be that difficult. It screws in rather tight. But the screws do make their way into the holes, and it mounts. So the only other thing that I did once I put it together was to put a dust washer underneath the smaller dust washer that the golden lever comes with. And this is mainly because when you're moving around with the smaller dust shaft, you can still see, or dust cover, you can still see the exposed holes, or you can still see the hole underneath where the shaft comes out. And I really didn't want any dirt getting in there and getting all inside of the golden lever, so I just put another dust washer underneath just to be safe. But now that we have it all assembled, we can go ahead and test it. I'm going to show a little bit of performance with this thing, and then we're going to cut back to basically what is supposed to be the final thoughts in all these videos. So, like I said in my last video where I reviewed the golden lever, it's still a great lever. The performance isn't really changed in any way now that it's mounted into the Victrix. It's just now that you can actually mount this thing into the Victrix. I'm thinking about trying it out on the Nacon Daija as well as the Panthera Evo. I'm trying to figure out how I will do those kinds of videos, but for now, the golden lever is going to be in that thing, and this will be my daily driver for Evo. I'm glad that I had that big brain moment and decided to use one of my other crown mounting plates on this thing just so that I could get this mounted into my actual stick that I'm taking to Evo. Now, there's a couple of things. If you have a Victrix Pro and a golden lever, then this is pretty much the way that I found that you can do it. But I heard, and I know that on the Arcade Stick in Indonesia guy's site, or on his Twitter, there's a lot of people who want to be able to mount the golden lever onto the Victrix, and I think he's working on that at the moment. So if you want to hold out on getting a golden lever and wait for the eventual compatible version that comes with the Victrix, or that will go into the Victrix, then, you know, you can always wait until then. But for me, I already had it, and I'm, like I said, the guy who apparently who likes to fit stupid shit into this arcade stick. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me. There's going to be a couple more videos during and before Evo and after Evo where I'm featuring this guy. So that's pretty much it for the video. I mean, it still works just fine. The shaft difference didn't really matter too much. I didn't really notice much of a difference in height. And it looks good. The only thing that I need to do now is really switch out the buttons or somehow make them white and gold to kind of match the aesthetic with the golden lever. But that can all be probably in a separate video. So for now, this is what this arcade stick looks like, and it performs great. It's slowly becoming the thing that I really want it to be. If you liked the video, you like it. If you disliked it, you know what to do. You can subscribe, hit the bell notification to get notified when I do more videos like this, as well as combo videos. This is the third video this week that I've put up where I'm actually reviewing products or doing something that's on camera. It's been like a month and a half or something like that. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching the videos and supporting the channel. If you want to support us in other ways, besides just commenting, liking, and subbing and sharing the video out, you can go to Twitch and watch us there when we're streaming live. You can sub to us over there. There's also the channel membership on here. That helps both of those directly support the channel. They help us. There's also a Patreon down in the description, and at the end of the video, you go there and you give, however much you want to give, that kind of helps out with production costs as well. And there's always the merch store, like I say in the beginning of every video. Go and pick up some of our merch, and it will help us out immensely. And if you manage to do it while we're streaming, then you'll also be, we'll also thank you on stream for helping support us. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys did enjoy it, and I'll be doing some more cooler videos before Evo. And so that's pretty much it. Stay tuned. I'm Dan, this is HurtboxTV, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Peace.